During the time of Malachi, the Israelites thought that serving God was A. difficult, B. in vain, C. important, D. foolhardy. B. in vain. See Malachi chapter 3, verse 14. In which book does the term New Jerusalem appear? A. John, B. Galatians, C. Jude, D. Revelation. D. Revelation. Pul was king of what land? A. Assyria, B. Egypt, C. Judah, D. Israel. A. Assyria. C. 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verse 26. What was the charge against Jonathan that almost saw him killed at the decree of his father Saul? A. He slept with his father's concubine. B. He ate the blood of animals. C. He left the camp in secret. D. He ate honey during a fast. D. He ate honey during a fast. See 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 43. Where did Rahab hide the 2 Israelite spies? A. In her vineyard. B. Under her bed. C. On the roof. D. At her father's home. C. On the roof. C. Joshua chapter 2, verse 6. Paul exhorted Timothy to pray for all men, but for whom specifically? A. For the saints throughout Judea. B. For kings and for all that are in authority. C. For servants and slaves throughout the land. D. For those who are being persecuted. B. For kings and for all that are in authority. C. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. Complete the following quote by Jesus. If any man desire to be first, A. The same shall be last of all, and servant of all. B. He must obey all that I have said unto you. C. He must earn his position. D. He must hate his father and mother. A. The same shall be last of all, and servant of all. See Mark chapter 9, verse 35. How long after his dream about the tree being cut down was Nebuchadnezzar stripped of his kingdom? A. 12 days. B. 12 weeks. C. 12 months. D. 12 years. C. 12 months. C. Daniel chapter 4, verse 29 through 33. What preceded Peter's missionary trip to the Gentiles? A. Peter and John's trip to Samaria. B. Paul's imprisonment. C. Paul's falling out with Barnabas. D. Peter's return to Jewish customs. A. Peter and John's trip to Samaria. C. Acts chapter 8, verse 14. Complete the following quote by Jesus. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's. A. Will sit with me in heaven. B. Will be honored in heaven. C. He will be saved. D. The same shall save it. D. The same shall save it. C. Mark chapter 8, verse 35. Who wrote the book of Colossians? A. Paul. B. Peter. C. Luke. D. John. A. Paul. C. Colossians chapter 1, verse 1. Paul tells the Thessalonians that he had previously suffered in what city? A. Ephesus. B. Galatia. C. Philippi. D. Colossae. C. Philippi. C. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 2. When the flood ended, where did the ark come to rest? A. In the valley of Gaza. B. In the hill country of Canaan. C. In the land of the Edomites. D. Upon the mountains of Ararat. D. Upon the mountains of Ararat. C. Genesis chapter 8, verse 4. What did God say was to happen to the tithe that all the Israelites were to pay to him? A. They were to be burned up. B. They were to be divided among the tribes. C. They were to be given to the Levites. D. They were to be given to the poor. C. They were to be given to the Levites. C. Numbers chapter 18, verse 24. God told Ezekiel to do this as an example of how the Israelites would behave in the future because of their fear of God's judgment. A. Wear sackcloth and pour ashes on his head. B. Pray and mourn. C. Weep and cry. D. Shake with fear as he ate and drank. D. Shake with fear as he ate and drank. C. Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 17. The Psalms says that God knows the number of these and that he calls them all by name. A. His people. B. Stars. C. The fish of the sea. D. The fowl of the air. B. Stars. C. Psalms chapter 147, verse 4. What did Solomon ask God to give him? A. A long life. B. Strength of character. C. Wealth and power. D. Wisdom and knowledge to lead his people. D. Wisdom and knowledge to lead his people. C. 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 10. Complete the following quotation from Jesus, "For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that. A. Which the Father chose. B. Which was dying. C. Which was unaccounted for. D. Which was lost." D. Which was lost. C. Luke chapter 19, verse 10. Why did Nehemiah ask to return to Judah? A. To see his family. B. To rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. C. To lead the army in war. D. To find food during the famine. B. To rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. C. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 5. Because of his sin, the Lord told Solomon that his son would have part of his kingdom torn away from him. What number of tribes would God give him to rule? A. 7 tribes. B. 10 of the 12 tribes. C. Only 1 tribe. D. 3 tribes. C. Only 1 tribe. C. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 13. Isaiah told Hezekiah that one day the Babylonians would take away all Israel's wealth and that some of his sons would be taken and made into this. A. Eunuchs. B. Slaves. C. Princes of Babylon. D. Shepherds. A. Eunuchs. C. Isaiah chapter 39, verse 7. Fill in the blanks. Apply thine heart unto blank, and thine ears to the words of blank. A. Instruction, knowledge. B. Love, truth. C. Honor, hope. D. Women, men. A. Instruction, knowledge. C. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 12. Which of the four Gospels is longest in length, based on the number of words? A. Matthew. B. Mark. C. Luke. D. John. C. Luke. C. Luke chapter 1. As a judgment, God destroyed which two cities with fire and brimstone? A. Tyre and Sidon. B. Zor and Ramah. C. Sodom and Gomorrah. D. None of the above. C. Sodom and Gomorrah. C. Genesis chapter 19, verse 24. Just before the Israelites crossed the Jordan into the Promised Land, what was Moses' main message to them? A. Follow Joshua. B. Have faith in each other. C. Don't forget God, obey Him and don't worship idols. D. Praise for their wisdom. C. Don't forget God, obey Him and don't worship idols. C. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 19. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos.